Hello, Andris McGee, and welcome.
Hello.
Today we'll be talking about the Slovenian Language Summer School. But first, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
My grandparents are Slovenian. They came over from Yugoslavia about 50 or 60 years ago. Sort of been involved with the club and the community over the years, and I've been practicing learning the language over the last few years, and thought I'd take the chance to learn it a bit better.
How are you associated with the club today?
Today, the last few years, I've been helping the club with their financial and tax matters, and helping them with their financial accounts and tax returns and that kind of thing. Financial advice from time to time, and just, I guess, helping them run that side of the club.
You mentioned that you learnt a little bit of Slovenian before attending the course. How would you rate your proficiency with the language before you went off?
Before I went off, probably, I guess, I'd like to think intermediate, but probably not quite. I could hold a short conversation, and if I was reading it, I could probably recognise quite a few words, but in the heat of a conversation, I could struggle a bit. Not bad, but not good enough to get by.
Could be better.
Could be better. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. And where and when did you attend the language school?
I attended the summer language school last year in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
It was run by the University of Ljubljana in Ljubljana. And it was basically in last July for 4 weeks in the middle of their summer.
Very nice. Which course option did you select?
The main part of the course, we had morning classes every day for the 4 weeks, which was the general language study, and then we could choose electives to do in the afternoon.
Okay.
And I chose basically conversational electives for that. They had choices of learning about politics and culture and music and things like that, but I thought that I would take the chance to learn the language even more in a bit more of a conversational setting.
Oh, okay. So it was a full-blown summer course just to learn as much as you could about Slovenia, and there was a major language component, but they also had stuff like history and politics.
Pretty much, yeah. We had 9 to 1 every Monday to Friday for the 4 weeks was basic language classes and learning vocabulary, grammar, and things like that. Then the afternoons there were the optional electives of the history and culture and conversational topics like that. And then, basically in the evenings they would organise events for us, whether it was a movie night or going out to wineries or lakes or things like that. They kept our weekends free, and basically on the weekends, people would go off and visit their family out of the city or go to the tourist sites and things like that.
That's good. What prompted you to attend the school? I mean, you said that you've been wanting to do it for a while. Is that a familial thing, or is it just always something you felt like you needed to do?
For a few years I've been wanting to do it. I mean, I guess the opportunity at that time of year never really came up until last year, and I thought I'd take it up. Before that, for a few years I had been practicing the language sort of on and off, and I thought, I had the chance in the middle of last year, so I thought, just take it and see how I go.
You mentioned that you mainly focused, you had the general language lessons in the mornings, and then you focus on the conversational parts. What would you say were the main points that you picked up during the courses?
Definitely the grammar. I think was the main part of the language courses I picked up. Vocabulary is one thing you can sort of learn by yourself, or just by listening to people. There's lots of ways of learning vocabulary, but the grammar was definitely one thing that I'd always struggled with, and which they taught us quite a bit of in the classes. Even though you have family members here that speak the language, I found it can be quite different from the university language kind of thing over there. So learning the proper rules of the grammar and things like that was.
Does it vary a lot as compared to English?
In terms of the grammar, it does vary quite a bit. English I don't think is the best language in terms of grammar. I'm sure for people learning it, it's actually pretty tough.
Yeah.
One of the, not the toughest things, at first toughest things to pick up was the fact that in Slovene there's not just singular and plural. There's singular, dual, and plural. So it's sort of not just I am and we are, but it's I am, we too are. and we are for more than that. And, you know, when everything can change based on whether you're talking about one person or two people or three people, you know, that took a bit of practice to remember. But yeah, that was certainly one of the more difficult parts of it, I think.
How many other students were on the course?
There was probably about 200 all up. The course was actually split up into, the entire course was 4 weeks, and there were also people there for the first 2 weeks and the second 2 weeks.
Okay.
So you know, there was probably about 70 or 80 people there for the entire month, and then 50 or 60 for each of the 2 weeks on top of that. So yeah, about coming close to 200, I'd say, all up. And you know, they ranged from, I was one of 2 Australians there. There was another lady from Sydney there, quite a few Americans and Canadians, and especially people from the surrounding countries around Slovenia, like Italy, Croatia, Hungary, and quite a few from Austria as well.
Okay.
So yeah, a good mix of people.
You mentioned that they organised social events for you in the evening. If you wouldn't mind running us through a little bit more about, you mentioned winery tours and seeing the tourist spots and like the occasional movie night. So
it was very varied. Basically, whether some of the events were in the afternoon, some in the evenings. Yeah, it was stuff like the wineries and lakes. We went to see the Parliament one day. I saw a session of that sitting, and got to watch the process of that. We got tours around art galleries, and around the old town in the centre of the city. Got a bit of a tour of that. So no, it was good. Some of them were local, just in Ljubljana. So we met up in the city centre, and they took us off in groups to wherever we were going. Or others were bus trips for the afternoon, more out to the lakes and the wineries and things like that. But no, it was good. They provided all the tours we did. They provided in English and Slovenian, so everyone could understand. But no, it was a good break from the language classes as well. You got to study that in the morning, and then I guess sort of use it in the afternoons and evening kind of thing. So yeah.
You also mentioned that you had the weekends off, and that most people went off and visiting relatives. What kind of stuff did you get up to?
For the first weekend, I got together with a few of the other students, and we headed off to visit Lake Bled and Bohim as well. And then we went on the Sunday down to Peron, down by the seaside. A couple of the other weekends, I went to visit family down south in Liska Bistrica. I know that was one of the more fun weekends. I know getting off the train at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. From that point until I went to bed, I don't think an hour went by that I wasn't having sliver bits. So I think as soon as you see a family you haven't seen in a while, they pulled out every bottle they had in the whole house, I think.
Oh yes.
But yeah, no, it was just a couple of the weekends. Groups of us got together from the school and went off to see the more touristy things. Then a couple of the other weekends was with family, and then actually I was lucky enough in the final weekend. A couple of us got together who wanted to climb Triglav, and we managed to get up there on the last couple of days. So
congratulations!
Yeah, thanks. It was pretty tough getting up and pretty scary getting down. But it was, definitely a good experience. A good way to finish it off.
In terms of the other students, what kind of reasons did they have for doing the courses?
It was definitely a mix. There were some sort of in my shoes where, especially from the US and Canada and even Argentina, who are the descendants of Slovenian immigrants, who were back there for part holiday, part learn the language a bit. But quite a few, or from the people that were coming from surrounding countries like Austria and Hungary and Italy, they were there learning the language sort of as part of either their studies, like university studies, or they were thinking of possibly moving there in the future, so they wanted to learn the language a bit better. So it was a mix of reasons. For the people coming from my sort of background, it was similar reasons to me. And the Europeans that were there were basically learning a second or third or even fourth language.
Yeah, it's amazing how many languages we can just have to deal with. Whereas in Australia, it's just, you learn Australian and you might, English, but let's be honest, it's Australian.
Yeah. And
then they, maybe they'll learn their ancestral tongue, but that's about it.
No, absolutely. I mean, around the dormitory, in the evenings at dinner time and at lunchtime, the amount of languages going around the table was just incredible.
Yeah.
You know, it was from Hungarian to Italian to Serbian and Croatian and English, and it was a lot of languages going around. But it seemed to work, and it was always impressive with how many languages other people seem to know. Yeah, like you said, it's here people can get away with English, just English, but very impressive the amount of languages they can speak over there.
So, what kind of accommodation? Like you mentioned the dorms. So, what kind of obviously they're not going to be 5-star. If you could just run us through how they were basically set up and what living conditions kind of were, and how close they were to the actual places where the courses were being held.
Yeah, the accommodation, well, most people stayed in the same student accommodation, which was just across the road from where the classes were taking place. Just outside, I guess, the central old town of Ljubljana, so still fairly central. But the accommodation, I think during the school year, it's for students from out of the city attending high school, and basically in the summer when the students have gone home, it opens up to this type of accommodation. So it was all shared accommodation, I think 2 people to each room in most cases, which at first I thought, I hadn't done that type of thing before, but it was good. I shared the first 2 weeks I was sharing with an Argentinian guy who was there, sort of like me, with Slovenian ancestry, coming back to learn the language. The second 2 weeks I shared it with a Greek guy that was there purely out of interest to learn a bit of the language. But the accommodation was basic, but I think with everyone being there for the same reason, and everyone was a similar age as well. It was actually a really good atmosphere. The accommodation was a student dormitory accommodation, with the dining hall and the rest of the building basically bedrooms and bunks. But no, it was a good atmosphere. Yeah.
Would you recommend the course to others?
Yeah, absolutely. It was it was a lot of fun. In the 4 weeks I was there, I learned so much more of the language. Being surrounded by it every day, being in the classes and then being out in the city and going around the country day after day for the month. You just learn it so fast. The teachers were great. The students were great. You meet people from all over the world. It's summertime there, so there's plenty to do. No shortage of bars to go to along the river there in the city, and it's a great atmosphere there. The people were good. You learned a lot, and I think for people with Slovenian backgrounds who might not know the language at all, or might have always understood it a bit from hearing it from their family and want to learn it more, if they want to combine that with a holiday back there, I think it's a great thing.
Do you have any advice for anyone who's contemplating going on this course?
No, I think just go and enjoy it. It's it turned out, it might sound like it's you're going on holiday to go to school, and there's a test at the end and all that sort of stuff, but it was just a lot of fun. It's just go and have fun. Don't think of it as going to classes. You just learn a lot of great stuff and meet great people, and you learn a fair bit of the language in the process. So no advice. There was no problems, and every day was just it was a good time.
Oh, Andris, thank you very much for the interview.
No worries. Thank you.